Imagine a cold and foggy morning in 1944. Along the beaches of Normandy, thousands of Allied soldiers struggle to reach the shore, balancing on the very edge between life and death. Powerful waves toss their landing craft from side to side, while relentless machine gun fire tears across the beach. Every step they take could be their last. Historical accounts usually tell us that this victory was achieved through the courage of brave soldiers and the brilliance of talented commanders. And without question, their bravery deserves to be remembered. But what if I told you that the single greatest factor that changed the course of the war was neither a general nor a tank? What if the true heroes of the war were the ordinary, dedicated people working hundreds of miles away from the front lines? Could the real strength of the Allied forces have come from factories operating around the clock? Vast logistical networks stretching for thousands of miles, railroads, ports, warehouses, and a medical system capable of returning wounded soldiers to the battlefield. This story was not written on the front lines. It was written behind them, on the invisible front. Join me as we uncover one of history's greatest unseen battles. One of the greatest heroes of that invisible war was penicillin. Discovered in 1928, this remarkable antibiotic was still being produced only in limited quantities during the early years of World War II. Scientists understood its incredible potential, but producing it on a scale large enough to make a real difference seemed almost impossible. As the war intensified, the Allied nations realized that penicillin was far more than a medical breakthrough. It was a strategic weapon. Governments, universities, pharmaceutical companies, engineers, and researchers united in one of the greatest industrial mobilizations in history. It became a nationwide effort fueled by sacrifice and determination. New production techniques were developed, factories were redesigned, and within a remarkably short period, millions of doses were being manufactured and shipped directly to the front lines. Penicillin was no longer just a medicine. It had become one of the war's most powerful invisible weapons. For that era, it was nothing short of a miracle. The results were extraordinary. Diseases and infections that had been considered fatal only a few years earlier could now be treated successfully. Thousands of severely wounded soldiers recovered and returned to their units instead of becoming permanent casualties. Saving a soldier meant far more than saving a single life. It preserved valuable combat experience. Training a replacement could take months, sometimes even years, while a recovered veteran could return to the battlefield in a fraction of that time. Every soldier who came back strengthened not only the army's fighting power, but also the morale of the men around him. Hope itself became a weapon. At the very same time, German field hospitals painted a very different picture. German doctors worked tirelessly with limited supplies, desperately trying to save thousands of wounded soldiers. Yet, without sufficient antibiotics, even a wound that seemed minor could develop into a deadly infection within days. Experienced soldiers often died not from enemy fire, but from infections that modern medicine simply could not treat. German wartime medical records and post-war studies later confirmed that shortages of antibiotics were among the factors that weakened frontline effectiveness. The German army was not losing men solely because of combat. Invisible logistical shortcomings were slowly draining the strength of one of the most formidable military machines in history. In reality, another war was being fought behind the one everyone could see. Factory assembly lines never stopped. Cargo ships were loaded day and night. Trains and trucks transported fuel, ammunition, food, medicine, and medical equipment across thousands of miles. Scientists raced against time inside laboratories, while engineers searched for faster and more efficient production methods. Military planners calculated every shipment with incredible precision, knowing that even a single delayed convoy could influence the outcome of an entire campaign. Behind every bullet fired, every meal served, every bandage applied, and every dose of medicine stood thousands of hard-working people whose names would never appear in history books. Perhaps this is the greatest lesson the Second World War has left behind. Wars are not won by courage alone. Courage may win battles, but organization wins wars. The factory that produces a bullet, the logistics network that delivers it to the front on time, the laboratory that develops life-saving medicine, and the institutions capable of coordinating millions of people toward a common goal, can sometimes have a greater impact than thousands of rifles on the battlefield. The struggle on the beaches of Normandy was never fought only on the Beth.